800 years ago, the 20 founding monarchs of the world government discarded the thrones of their original kingdoms in order to ascend to the new Holy Land of Merijo. As we learned in previous weeks, Queen Lily D. Nefertari was the only one from the newly dubbed Celestial Dragons to refuse their new home and to attempt to return to her original kingdom. But of course, we know that she never made it back. This is all knowledge that most One Piece fans are well aware of, yet information that was revealed in chapter 1086 has just caused us to question everything that we know about how the Celestial Dragon structure works, and more importantly, has answered one of One Piece's most enduring mysteries. But before diving into the answer to all of these questions and more, we first need to see just what was so special about chapter 1086 of One Piece. This chapter had exposed numerous unbelievable revelations, some of which I will look further into in future videos, but the key points that we need to analyze to answer our questions are revealed right at the end of the chapter, with the reveal of the Supreme Commander of the God's Knights, the world government's most fierce fighting force, whose leader is none other than St Figarland Garling. We have seen remarkably few characters in the entire series implied to have as much power as the head of the Figarland family, as was shown in his introduction, where he was responsible for judging the punishment for Saint Donkyo Miosgard for his actions against Saint Charlos. He had deemed it to be appropriate to sentence him to death for his actions. For the rest of the world, simply bringing inconvenience to a celestial dragon is a major punishable offense by death. Causing harm to one would go a step further and justify the summoning of an admiral in order to immediately eliminate the offender. Given that, we can only imagine just how powerful a man who has been granted the authority to sentence a celestial dragon to death, who in fact are the gods of the One Piece world. Somehow, despite everything that I've just mentioned, we still haven't spoken about the major revelation regarding this god amongst celestial dragons, St Figarland Garling, who is the former king of the land that is known as God Valley. God Valley was home to one of the most fierce fights within the One Piece world, a battle that rivals the feud that had resulted in the fall of the ancient kingdom nearly a millennium ago. I'm of course talking about the epic battle in which the marine hero Monkey D. Garp had joined with the pirate king himself, Gol D. in order to fight against Rocksteady Xebec and his crew, a crew which consisted of legendary pirates such as Kaido, Big Mom, Whitebeard, Shiki, Captain John, Wang Ji, and almost every other notable pirate of the era. While till now we were unsure about the cause of their confrontation, I believe that chapter 1086 not only explains what caused their battle, but also answers the mystery behind the importance of God Valley. Until now, it has been our assumption that once the Celestial Dragons ascended to Merijo, they no longer held any responsibility over the mortal world. While they still ruled over them and still demanded an extortionate tribute every year to maintain their luxurious lifestyles, they themselves cared little over the territories they had considered to be beneath them. The only exception to this rule, as I had mentioned at the start of the video, was the Nefertari family, who remained behind in order to rule their homeland of Alabasta. However, we now know that the Figarland family was not only another exception to this rule, but they had taken things even further. Not only did they continue to personally rule over an island, in addition to this, they appear to have not forfeited their position within Merijo also. As far as we know, such a thing is completely unprecedented within the Celestial Dragons. Once you abandon the Holy Land and return to the mortal world for whatever reason, there is no path to return, as Donkyo Homing and his family so tragically had found out. Now that we know that Saint Garling was allowed to do so, it could be an indicator of one of two things. Firstly, that he or his family are so influential that they are allowed additional permissions that regular Celestial Dragons are not. And secondly, and what I believe to be the true reason, is that God Valley holds a special importance to the Celestial Dragons. But what makes God Valley so special? Not only to the Celestial Dragons, but so special enough to even inspire the attention of the strongest crew in the world at the time, as well as the man who would go on to become the Pirate King? Well, the answer to this lies within the secret behind the creation of all devil fruits. Vegapunk himself confirmed that devil fruits are, in essence, the dreams of humans condensed into a physical form. Every possible interpretation of the next step of evolution of humanity has been dreamed up and made available for consumption via the devil fruits, granting their wielders incredible power at the cost of their ability to swim. Some of these abilities are comical, while others are powerful enough to shake the very fabric of the world itself. And at the heart of all of it, we seem to have the world government throughout the centuries desperately trying to acquire a select few devil fruits. But while we know what devil fruits are able to do, and via Vegapunk we now know the theory behind the devil fruits, how does any of this connect to God Valley? Well, the answer is that God Valley was the place in which devil fruits were first created. This theory only truly comes together once we can see all of the pieces. Vegapunk's declaration that the devil fruits were made from the dreams of humans, the importance placed on the location by both the celestial dragons and Roxy Xebec, and most importantly, the presence of the child Bartholomew Kuma on the island as one of the slaves of the celestial dragons. Now, bringing together all of these separate points, we can form a truly groundbreaking theory. God Valley has the means in which to create devil fruits. This is such a powerful ability that no doubt it would be sought by those with power in the world. This is exactly the reason why the world government had a celestial dragon with such high authority as being the supreme commander of the Holy Knights permanently stationed within God Valley in order to oversee their asset and to ensure its protection. It's also the exact same reason why the most powerful pirate crew of their age would be so willing to launch an assault on the island in order to seize control over the means in which to create devil fruits. If they had this power, then undoubtedly they would become the most powerful crew in the world. In fact, we have already seen one of the members of the Rock's crew try to replicate this exact thing in the future. Following the apparent erasure of God Valley, there was no way to create new devil fruits, which had led to Kaido's grand plan of controlling the new means in which to create artificial devil fruits, allowing him to form his army of entirely devil fruit users. However, Kaido failed just as Rox did before him, but what Rox could never have accounted for was the sudden appearance of a Marine Vice Admiral and pirate captain strong enough to challenge him, with these two opposing forces having joined together. While St Garling was unable to hold back the strongest crew in the world, Garp and Roger working together managed to succeed. Now, where does Bartholomew Kuma fit into all of this? Well, what was taking place on God Valley to allow devil fruits to be made? Naturally, such an important location would be one that the world government would attempt to keep a secret. So what was the need for a young slave like Bartholomew Kuma to be there? And more importantly, why did Sengoku specify that Garp's fight against Rox was not only to protect the celestial dragons, but also their slaves? The celestial dragons naturally make sense, but there was no lack of slaves available to them, nor was it difficult for them to acquire more when a simple declaration was enough to condemn a princess like Shirahoshi to life as a slave. For the slaves to have been presented as just as important for protection as the celestial dragons, it must mean that they had a special purpose, and I believe that that purpose was to be sacrificed in order to create devil fruits. The reasoning behind this comes from the symbolic inspiration behind the devil fruit as a concept. Throughout the series, devil fruits can be perceived as the forbidden fruit, quite literally being named after the devil, and with the considerable drawback of becoming hated by the sea itself. Consuming a devil fruit is almost considered as a sin by nature. The not so subtle comparison of this is the apple consumed by Eve in the Garden of Eden, for which both her and Adam were exiled from heaven for. But the parallels go even further than just this. The story of Adam and Eve takes place in the book of Genesis, which coincidentally is the word written on the front of the devil fruit encyclopedia in One Piece. We see this in the latest chapter where Ivankov shows Sabo this book near the end, and we can see the name. The tree in which the fruits grow on is called the Tree of Knowledge, and two separate fates are said to happen when one eats the fruit from this tree. Now, funnily enough, the Tree of Knowledge was also the name of the tree which had housed the scholars of Ohara. But going back to the two fates, one is said by God and the other is said by the serpent. God had warned that eating the fruit from the tree was forbidden, and that the day anyone ate from the tree would be the day that they died. The serpent, however, spoke of a different fate, that the day in which anyone eats from the tree would be the day that their eyes were opened and they themselves would become gods. Two completely conflicting fates for those who consume fruit from the tree. My theory is that in the One Piece world, both fates are true. Consuming the forbidden fruit would cause the death of whoever consumed it, and the dreams of that person would then become personified, gaining physical form in a new fruit, which would then end up growing on that tree located within God Valley. Whoever would then go on to eat the newly grown fruit would themselves become a god, gaining powers beyond their wildest imaginations, and these are the devil fruit abilities. The slaves on God Valley were intended as sacrifices in order to create devil fruits from their dreams, with Bartholomew Kuma among them, and it was only thanks to the intervention of Rox and the combined effort of Roger and Garp which had spared the slaves from such a fate. However, this now brings us on to the final question at hand. This is a question that we currently do not have a definitive answer for, and it's just what had happened to God Valley itself. St Garling is quite clearly identified as the former king of God Valley, and it doesn't seem like it was the title that was stripped from him, but rather the island itself. The final fate of God Valley remains remains a mystery, with the only information that we know is that the island had mysteriously vanished without a trace following the battle, with knowledge of its existence fading following the removal of the island from the world's maps. This does in some ways reflect the fate of the Lulusia kingdom. It was wiped from existence and erased from history at the hands of the world government's strongest weapon, Mother Flame. But from what we know, this weapon is only a new development for the world government, and its use on Lulusia was the first time that it had ever been utilized. So what could have possibly caused the presumed destruction and erasure of possibly the most important island in the world over 38 years ago? I'm afraid the answer to this question is only something we can wait for Oda himself to reveal. Now, I know that this was quite a huge theory to drop from the recent chapter of One Piece, so I'd love to know all of your thoughts about the mystery of God Valley and its future significance within the story. Do you think that the Straw Hats will ever get to set foot on this legendary island, or do you think that it will be relegated to appearances only in flashbacks, with the island itself having been lost to the world forever? Definitely continue the discussion in the comments, and be sure to remember to subscribe so that you're up to date with all of my One Piece videos, because I'll be uploading more chapter reviews, theory videos, and character analysis videos in the future. So definitely stick around to the channel, and lastly, thanks for making it to the end of the video, and I cannot wait to see you in my next One Piece video. If you enjoy my content, then you can support my channel through Patreon for as little as $1 a month, or even through YouTube by becoming a channel member. You will gain access to exclusive channel perks and a Discord server which I frequently use. So become a member of my Zero Division and be the first to know about my upcoming videos. And once again, thank you for sticking around till the end of the video, and whatever you contribute will mean a lot to me.